Hi everyone, I'm Jade. Welcome to today's agenda. Being a new company here at Indigo, I think it's best that we go over some important information. Today we're going to go over facilitate workplace debriefing and support processes. So, first point is identification of professional and personal performance standards that can be used to monitor stress and emotional well-being in organisations. So that's basically monitoring and reporting. They're vital to health and safety management. They follow the best practice management standards that can help you monitor our organisation's effectiveness in responding to issues of stress and risk to emotional well-being. We need to monitor how well our colleagues are performing in relation to professional and personal standards and noting absent and illness rates that can alert us to issues that might pose risk to individuals and general well-being in our workplace. So we're evaluating a worker's skills and it needs us to allow to provide adequate support to help you all out, such as administrating a stress management plan following a critical incident. Standards are broad statements of what is expected of an organisation or person, but with us being aware of the professional and personal standards relevant to each role in the workplace and knowing when and how to refer our staff in particular situations, it can help all staff avoid stress. With the second one, we have identification of existing strategies used by organisations to manage work-related stress, feedback and supervision, self-assessment, reflection in action and professional development. I've got a few points on the PowerPoint here, but I'll go into more detail with the others. So with work-related stress management, we can identify risk and offer appropriate support to protect colleagues at all times, have strategies in place to assist with recovery and rehabilitation and provide emotional support. As a supervisor, you must be able to recognise when a worker is not well and if they are not working safely or at risk of a physical, psychological or emotional harm to themselves or others. And also following best practice management standards to monitor the organisation's effectiveness in responding to issues of stress and risk to emotional well-being. So we have here feedback and supervision. So feedback is whether negative or positive. It can be, negative or positive. It helps us as employers and employees what we may need to improve our performances and what training our staff may require to help with their career. It can also help with early detection of workplace stress. And supervision is where you have face-to-face contact, so then we can monitor the employees to see if they are unwell, not handling certain situations, and if you are all working safely. So we go to our next point, which is self-assessment. So staff should point to specific tasks and projects that highlight their best work. When describing those accomplishments, employees should emphasise the impact those achievements have had on the whole business to help value to the company. It can help you develop a more suitable outcome and practices to take responsibilities for your own actions and development. When writing a self-assessment, some tips that I'll provide for you now may help. So knowing how the self-evaluation is going to be used, to write out a list of your accomplishments, write out a list of your struggles, narrow your accomplishment list down. Don't forget to review with your managers or team goals. Stay positive when describing your challenges. Keep the focus on you. Don't forget to ask for growth opportunities if you would like. So we're going to go over reflection in action. So it's an important concept to considering after an event. It provides opportunities to process or reflect on the incident or accident and to learn from the experience. There must be a time for reflection, so changes that need to be made can reduce the stress levels and can be acted upon. Professional development is continuing to learn new skills and practices at any stage in your career. Sometimes enrolling in courses or training plans is an invaluable way to gain the skills or knowledge that you need to develop in your role and improve in specific practices, controls, and the employee's readiness for contributing to a company in new ways, whether the company adopts a new strategy, expands, or need changes. Completely up to the staff. If they would like to do training in their own time, feel free. And also we are open to staff members coming up, letting us know their ideas and courses out there, and we can take them all on board. So with debriefing, it's not counselling. It is structured, voluntarily discussion aimed at putting an abnormal event into perspective. It offers workers clarity about the critical incident they have just experienced and assists them to establish a process for recovery. It allows everyone to discuss their feelings and give an opportunity to assess their own emotional and stress levels. So going with timing with debriefing, it's usually carried out within 3 to 7 days of the critical incident when everyone has had enough time to take in the experience. But in saying that, sometimes it can happen that day. Also, just depending on the situation and what has occurred. So we go to the environment where the debriefing will be provided. So it should be in a comfortable area. It should be somewhere private where there's minimal interruptions and noise to occur. So you'll be in a safe place. No one can come in and out and disrupt or listen to what you were talking about. So we go into techniques. So with the techniques for debriefing, introduce the session and outline the rules of confidentiality, non-judgment and freedom to talk. Set ground rules. Ask questions. Reflect on your own experience. That can be managers and sharing it with other colleagues. Tap into those that are confident to talk to promote encouragement for the quieter ones to feel they can express their own feelings and emotions. Provide PowerPoints, like we have today, and handouts on how to deal with stress in the workplace and self-help information. To be able to have a second person to provide support for someone who is not coping well and has left the room. Should facilitate, guide the discussion, not dominate it. Need to not talk to people, but start talking with them. With your discussion, be prepared for your group to all talk. Ask lots of open-end questions. Use a variety of formats to keep your group engaged. Make it easy to see or hear each other. Use a neutral response for comments and use what works for you and change what doesn't work. So then we go into assessment of risk of harm to self and or others. So with this, it's information gathered to determine if there's a risk of harm to self or others, determine whether a response is required and whether ongoing intervention is necessary. And if so, at what level, to ensure that all colleagues' ongoing safety and well-being are supported. And as I've put up on this slide, there are 5 stages. So stage 1 is to gather information. Stage 2 is to assess harm and risk of harm. Stage 3 is to decide the response. Stage 4 is to decide the outcome. And stage 5 is to review the risk assessment during ongoing intervention. So a need for a referral. So speak to the worker or workers and ask how they are coping and if they're in need of support. If they're still feeling overwhelmed well after the incident, then my suggestion would be a referral to the appropriate service for support should be put in place for those workers. So with this, we have documenting and reporting the outcome of debriefing. So with debriefing, you have documenting the debriefing. So it's when the person responsible for conducting the briefing will take notes on why the debriefing is taking place, what safety concerns do we have, what team members have discussed in the debriefing, what information has been mentioned, and how we can handle situations if a case like this occurs again. Reporting on the outcome. Reporting can have a significant impact on an organisation. It can change the way people perform their jobs and how decisions are made. Willingness to change behaviour when performing their duties and keeping a safe work environment. The workers should be able to summarise the consequences of their actions on the rest of the team and then to commit to change. Once the debriefing is finished, the records should be stored in accordance with our organisation's record keeping guidelines. There should be rules included around confidentiality and limits to access this confidential information to protect our employees' privacy. And then last but least, we have the relevant organisational policy. So our organisational policy and procedures provide guidelines for decision-making process, and the way that we work in an organisation should be carried out. The result is having a clear, well-written policy and procedure that increases transparency, accountability, and stability. As you all see in front of you, I have placed a booklet there, which is a copy of our injury and incident report policy. If you'd just like to all look over it, see if there's anything we may have missed, anything you think might need to be included, anything you're not too sure on, and we'll have questions and answers after you've all looked at that. All right, thank you for your time.